Welcome everyone. This is the editorial page of Indian Express and I will explain this editorial page and in fact every editorial page in the upcoming days in 3 steps. First is why is the editorial given in the newspaper? Second is what is exactly written in the editorial? Now third is what can we expect in the future about the topic that is given in the editorial. So coming to our first page, we can see the headline Tokyo Delhi Compact. Now the subheading here is given Indo-Japan Ministerial Dialogue points to deepening of strategic and defense partnership. So why exactly this editorial is given? So I'll tell you because there was a dialogue that occurred between India and Japan. So it was a dialogue, it was a 2+2 ministerial dialogue. So what does that 2+2 exactly means? 2+2 means 2 ministers from each country. It was not between the prime ministers of 2 countries but between ministries of the 2 countries. So who are the ministries that exactly participated? The Ministry of Defense, whose minister is Rajnath Singh, and also External Affairs Ministry, whose minister is S. Jaishankar. So what was discussed in this meeting? Here it has been given and this person, Mr. Sujon Chinoy, has explained in depth about the upcoming and also the past events that occurred during this dialogue. So we see the second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial dialogue held in Tokyo on September 8th and it saw Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and they meet their counterparts who are from Japan and these counterparts were Hamada Yasukazu and Hayashi Yoshimasa. And what was main discussion? So I've highlighted it for an in-depth discussion on all critical challenges to a rule-based global order. So what that exactly means? So you know rule-based global order. It means that you have to take any action based on the rules, based on the international rules that are made by the UN. So what are exactly the challenges that come in front when countries follows these rule-based global order? So discussion was on critical challenges to a rule-based global order that increasingly bind the 2 countries. So these rule-based global order, it bind the 2 countries. In fact, it bind every country with each other. But exactly here is the talk between India and Japan. And this order provides renewed vigor to their special strategic and global partnership. So when you follow the rule, you get courage in order to partnership and do special connections with your partner. So now this meeting took place against the backdrop of heightened tensions across the Taiwan Strait, during which China lobbed 5 missiles in Japan's exclusive economic zone. So what exactly is written here is that all this meeting has took place and we know that there is a tension that is going on between Taiwan and China. So what exactly is the tension? For starters, I will tell that China considers Taiwan as a part of it. It considers the Taiwan as an extended province and it wants Taiwan to get unified. So for this unification, China is trying to do anything. It wants either to unify this Taiwan by peace or it has its other, you can call weapons also. And you may have seen all these military drills that are going on in China and Taiwan. So what exactly occurred is that when China was performing these military drills around the Taiwan Strait, it lobbed 5 missiles in the Japan's exclusive economic zone. So that is why Japan was very much hurt, and also it considered it's a grave, you can say, it considered this step by China as a grave threat to its sovereignty and territorial integrity. So what exactly the defense minister of Japan, who is Nobio Kishi, he described that missile coming in the Japan's exclusive economic zone, he described that it was a serious problem. And this serious problem affects our national security and also the safety of our citizens. So you see, Japan is not happy with the Chinese step. So we see next, the writer has written that 2+2 dialogue also coincided with the North Korea passing a new law declaring its irreversible status as a nuclear weapons state. So since 2 to 3 years, we have seen that North Korea is performing this, you can call nuclear assessment. North Korea is doing that. So what exactly North Korea is trying to do? North Korea is trying to become a massive nuclear state. And it has proposed a new law that has declared that it will not reverse its status as a nuclear weapon state. It will be, and it wants to be, a nuclear weapon state. And this, together with growing Chinese belligerence and its expanding nuclear arsenal, erodes Japan's security and provides the reason d'etre for paragraph 5 of the India-Japan joint statement. So this together, so what exactly is Chinese belligerence? So first of all, you have to learn what is belligerence. Belligerence is, you can call, the wish that anyone has to fight or argue. So here it means that with Chinese belligerence, means with Chinese aggression or the want to fight, and its expanding nuclear arsenal. So what is this exactly, nuclear arsenal? Nuclear arsenal, you can call, arsenal is a place where war related materials are stored. You can call its nuclear capacity is expanding. And this exactly, this growing Chinese aggression, this expanding nuclear capacity of China, this is a threat to Japan's security. And that is why there is, you can call, it has provided the reason d'etre. So what exactly is this reason d'etre? Reason d'etre, it's a term which means a reason for existence. So that is why there is a paragraph 5 of the India-Japan joint statement. So you see, because of this Chinese aggression, there is such a paragraph. Now what exactly is this paragraph? So for finding this paragraph, I will write it down this exactly in my own handwriting, and you can see this in my Telegram channel. The link will be in description. So it is striking in terms of the resolve. So you can also write it down when I will post that image. You can also write it down in your copy. So what exactly is this paragraph 5? It is striking in terms of the resolve expressed by the Japanese side to fundamentally reinforce Japan's defense capabilities within the next 5 years. So this aggression from China has led the Japan to contribute more to its defense capabilities. So you will know that Japan till this time now, it only spends 1% of its GDP in the defense budget. Now because of these aggression from China, it is going to increase its defense budget, and it is reported that it will increase it to like 2% of the GDP. So we see the development of the so-called counter-strike capabilities. It's trying to counter-strike China with its capabilities and a substantial increase in the defense budget. reportedly to 2% of GDP. So what exactly you do? When your enemy in front of you, what exactly do is strengthen yourself. And when a country is in grave danger, what the country do? It increases its capacity in its defense. So this is exactly what Japan is doing. Clearly, Japan is freeing itself from the self-imposed shackles in order to develop robust capabilities to tackle the emerging security threat from China and North Korea. So Japan, Japan has a economy, have a GDP of trillion. So what exactly is the GDP of Japan? So it is near to 5 trillion. So Japan's GDP is near to 5 trillion, expected to increase a lot. So Japan was, you can call it was intendedly not investing on its defense. So now when it sees threats from China and North Korea, it has to seriously develop robust capacities in order to tackle the threats. While the joint statement issued by the two sides at the end of 2+2 dialogue reiterates their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. So what exactly they commit? They commit to create a free, open Indo-Pacific, a rule-based global order. And what exactly this means? It means that you respect others' sovereignty and territorial integrity. And also, if you have any disputes, then peacefully resolve that disputes among others. Also, there are several indications that are pointing to a rapid deepening of the strategic and defense partnership in the recent months. So you also see India and Japan are doing these strategic and defense partnerships also. In fact, the press release that was issued by Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it describes the development between India and Japan. So what exactly is the statement? It describes it as a dramatic expansion of cooperation between Japan and India in the field of security and also defense. The joint statement avers that these 2+2 who participated from India, Rajnath Singh, S. Jaishankar, and from Japan, 2 persons whose name I have read, they discussed that these ministers have a frank and fruitful discussion on Indo-Pacific. So what exactly I have highlighted that there were discussions on Indo-Pacific in order to make that area free and open, and also Ukraine. So Ukraine is a matter in which both India and Japan have two diverse roads. So Japan has seriously condemned the Russia's invasion on Ukraine. It has also, you can say, published a white paper that has given economic sanctions imposed against Russia, and has called also in the meetings of G7 and G20, both of these as a part of it. It has seriously not supported Russia. It is in the support of Ukraine. But what is the India's take? India is neutral. So it suggested that the strategic ties between India and Japan are resilient enough to accommodate differences in the approach on the war in Europe. So you see, I have underlined differences in approach on the war in Europe. So it says that India and Japan's relations are strong enough to handle these differences. A key outcome of this round of talks was the agreement to launch joint service staff talks between Japan Joint Staff and Indian Integrated Defense Staff. So these are the, you can call, there will be a main staff that will be between India and Japan, so whose name will be Joint Service Staff, and its two components will be Japan Joint Staff and Indian Integrated Defense Staff. So this Indian Integrated Defense Staff, so what exactly is this Indian Integrated Defense Staff? And you may heard of also Chief Defense Staff, who was Bipin Rawat. He is no more, and we are waiting for the second CDS, which is Chief Defense Staff, to come. And also Rajnath Singh have assured that the appointment will be done soon. So what exactly is this Indian Integrated Defense Staff? I will write it down and you can watch it on the Telegram channel. This is significant step towards enhancing cooperation between the three services as well as the Coast Guard on both sides in an integrated manner, further building on existing bilateral and multilateral exercises. So this making of this staff is a significant step, and it can enhance the cooperation between the three services. And you know these three services: Indian Army, Indian Air Force, Indian Navy, and the fourth one is the Coast Guard. So much is known between Indian Army, much is known about Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force. What exactly this Coast Guard do? So this Coast Guard, it's a multi-mission organization. It performs operation at sea. And you may be surprised to know that despite it is a relatively small organization, it do a wide range of task capabilities. And also it performs its capabilities both in the surface, that means land, and also air operations. So you know it does a lot of tasks. So how exactly it performs its task? So for effective command and control. So in order to command effectively, India's maritime zone is divided into 5 regions. So what are these 5 regions? So first is the northwest region, second is the west, third east, fourth is northeast. So when I'm telling you, you can imagine this in your map. First is the northwest, there is Coast Guard. So you can imagine that exactly in Gujarat. Second is the west, third is the east, fourth is the northeast, and fifth is Andaman and Nicobar Island. So these are the 5 maritime zones that are divided for the Coast Guard. Now these 3 services as well as Coast Guard on both sides in an integrated manner, further building on existing bilateral and multilateral exercises. So these are the exercises that are done between these 2 forces. First is the Dharma Garshan, which is for ground forces. Second is the GMEX. Third is the Malabar, these 2 for navies. And an earlier decision to conduct the inaugural India-Japan fighter exercise between the 2 air forces. So there will be also an inauguration to perform fighter exercises between air forces of India and Japan. So all these 4 ministers welcomed the participation of Japan for the first time in the Milan multilateral naval exercise that was organized by Indian Navy. So interestingly, Milan 2022, it was a naval exercise that was organized by Indian Navy. For the first time, it witnessed the first ever participation by not just Japan but all the Quad nations. So Quad nations, India, Japan, Australia and US, as well as France and South Korea, that it was held under the Eastern Naval Command for the first time instead of Andaman and Nicobar command points. So this Milan occurred in East region, not in the Andaman and Nicobar command. To a growing willingness on the part of India, Japan and also some like-minded partners to recast existing and newer forms of cooperation. So all these countries, all these partners, why they perform this exercise? In order to recast existing and newer forms of cooperation in order to strengthen these cooperations. And why they want to strengthen this cooperation? In order to meet the requirements of a nascent Indo-Pacific theater. So this Indo-Pacific theater is nascent. Nascent means newborn. It's very new for all these countries. Now the 2+2 dialogue in Tokyo took place in the wake of two bilateral summits between India and Japan this year. So first was the visit of Japanese Prime Minister, whose name is Fumio Kishida, in India. And second was the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan for Quad Leaders Summit in May. Clearly the crest in bilateral activity contrast with the trough during the height of COVID-19 pandemic. So you know crest and trough. Crest is the high point, trough is the low point. So now this high point in the bilateral activity, it has also gone through a trough, through a low point, that was in COVID-19 pandemic time. That the two countries are marking the 70th anniversary of the establishment of bilateral relations this year, 2022. It has no doubt that has been instrumental in re-energizing ties. So these two countries have re-energized ties, but the spurt is also attributable to a long-term vision shared by the leaders on both sides. So you know it was instrumental in energizing these two ties, but this spurt, so what exactly is spurt? Spurt, you can say, is something that flow out suddenly, and you can call it flows with force in a fast stream. So what exactly this spurt means here? So this spurt means that fast taking action of this India and Japan relationship is also attributable, is also featured to a long-term vision that is shared by the leaders of both sides. Prime Minister Modi invested considerable personal and political capital in building stronger economic ties with Japan soon after he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat. So you know Prime Minister Modi, he does both kind of, you can call diplomacy. He do political diplomacy as well as he also do personal diplomacy. You may have seen Prime Minister Modi being friends with other countries' PM. So this is his way of dealing with other countries. So after becoming Prime Minister, he gave fresh impetus. So he gave fresh energy, or you can call energetic, effective view to efforts to achieve the full potential in bilateral relations. His outreach to Japan, including in the field of both defense and security, was reciprocated in full measure by the late Shinzo Abe. So he is no more, he was previously the Prime Minister of Japan. Together, Modi and Abe laid a strong foundation that has facilitated the task for the later successor. So Prime Minister Kishida also played an important role in developing bilateral ties in his capacity as a foreign minister between 2012 and 2017. So he was previously a foreign minister and he played a very important role to maintain this relationship. So others in the Japanese cabinet like Nishimura Yasutoshi, he was a minister of economy, trade and industry. So they were even earlier part of the core team that fleshed out Abe's vision of free open Indo-Pacific in the recent year. Now also bilateral priorities such as India-Japan Industrial Competitive Partnership, first. Second, Supply Chain Resilience Initiative, second. Third is the cooperation in clean energy. These all three things are expected to show faster results. And why these are expected to show faster results? Because India and Japan have geared up to assume the presidency of G20 and G7 respectively. So because of these leadership roles in both the communities, it's expected that they will show faster results. Now Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's presence in the Tokyo, so when this dialogue was taking place, his presence in the Tokyo for the 2+2 dialogue is expected to provide thrust. So because he is a defense minister, he is expected to provide thrust In what region? In cooperation in defense equipment and technology. So obviously he will do cooperation in defense equipment and technology, and it will cover areas UGV, robotics. What exactly is UGV? UGV are unmanned ground vehicles, and robotics, you know. So what exactly is unmanned ground vehicles? So I'll explain this in short. It does not contain any human element. So this is unmanned ground vehicle. So if you want to know more, you can check out my Telegram channel. So now another area of potential cooperation is the manufacturing of drones. Japan's largest drone manufacturer, which is ASCL, has already established a joint venture in India with Delhi-based ARC Ventures. So these two have collaborated in order to manufacture drones. Earlier in March, the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis and Japan's New Energy and Industrial Technology Development, both these organizations, they have organized an event in order to promote cooperation in this field, which is drones field, drawing an enthusiastic response on both sides. Also, the recently held space and cyber dialogues, these two have also pushed bilateral cooperations into newer realms with defense and security orientation. So that means that these two dialogues, cyber and space, they have tried to make these bilateral cooperations more defense and security oriented. The agreement that is concerning reciprocal provision of supplies and services between the self-defense forces of Japan and the armed forces of India, it was signed in 2020. So this provision of supplies and services between the self-defense forces of Japan and India, so it was signed in 2020 and it is now already operationalized earlier this year. Now this agreement is signed in order to provide logistical support to both these forces. India also have such agreement with US and also Russia. So such agreements pave the way for deeper cooperation between the two militaries. India's emergence as the fifth largest as well as the fastest growing economy in the world will definitely ensure a further quantum leap in strategic ties with Japan. So that means that India is emerging as the fifth largest economy. So it was sixth in the number. So what exactly had made it fifth? It had leaded and left UK back. So you were surprised to know that UK is sixth now and India is fifth now. But the income of a person in UK and income of a person in India is way different. India has a per capita income of $2,000 while UK have a per capita income of more than $40,000. So you see that. So we will talk about that at some later time. Here India's emergence as a fifth largest and also fastest growing economy, growing at a rate of 7% or 8%, where China, UK, US all are growing at 1 to 2%. And even you can call some are growing towards recession. UK has called that its economy is going into recession. So this exactly will help both India and Japan to make these strategic ties more stronger. So this was exactly given here in the editorial. So as I already told you in the start, what we can expect next. So first of all, India and Japan will be a coordinator if war occur between India and China. So you see, the enemy of Japan is China and enemy of India is also China. So as China has disengaged from all the conflict points, but even in the future, if some conflict or some war occurs, because no one knows what exactly start a war. We never know that Russia and Ukraine will be in war. We never know that China will start its aggression towards Taiwan. The next page we see here is uh, about Queen Elizabeth. She is no more, but this editorial is not that important. This is Reach Out for Bharat Jodo. This is a political editorial. Now next come the Friends and Neighbors. This is editorial that is important. So we see why this editorial is given. So this editorial is given because Sheikh Hasina, who is the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, she came to India on a visit on September 5. And what exactly she have decided, or what exactly both the countries have decided, and how her visit reflects the relationship between India and Bangladesh is being given in this editorial. So coming to what exactly is given, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina 4-day visit to India, which began on September 5. It was highly awaited in both the countries. In Bangladesh especially, it was highly awaited in Bangladesh especially because there were much speculations about the trip. People were expecting a lot, as it was viewed as a means to take bilateral cooperation between the two neighbors to a new height, and also allow Bangladesh to navigate the economic challenges that are posed by Russia-Ukraine war. So it was expected that this cooperation will bring the relationship to a new high, and also the challenges that Bangladesh face because of Russia-Ukraine war. So every country faces that, but Bangladesh is seriously hit because it is also part of global supply chain. So it was in order to navigate the reasons. Bangladesh so far has calmly and conservatively navigated the macroeconomic uncertainties that stemmed from imploding import cost due to COVID-induced supply chain disruptions. So what exactly this means, that Bangladesh is analyzing its macroeconomic uncertainties, and how these uncertainties came because of import cost imploded. So these imports in the Bangladesh have increased because the COVID induced supply chain were disrupted, and also second reason is a rising energy cost, which is because of Russia and Ukraine war. This has meant that Bangladesh government has already introduced difficult economic adjustment in the form of import restrictions and a sharp increase in fuel prices to preemptively deal with any economic waves heading towards its shore. So what exactly it has done? First, it has put restriction, you can go some restrictions in import, and also a sharp increase in fuel prices in order to deal with the poor economic waves that are coming towards Bangladesh. Of course, such preemptive prudent measures are very painful for ordinary citizens. So increasing the prices of fuel, and also putting ban or you can call restrictions on import, they prove to be painful for ordinary citizens, and also they trigger the inflation and increase the cost of living. Consequently, the trip was not only a means of taking stock of ongoing projects such as, so this was also done. There was a 1320 megawatt Rampal power plant. So it is in Bangladesh, being built with cooperation of India and Bangladesh, and also Rupsha railway bridge, same exactly for this too, built in Bangladesh with the cooperation of India and Bangladesh. So it was inaugurated on September 6. So this was there, but also there was discussion in order to find ways to navigate the rough economic waters that Bangladesh faces. And why such rough economic, you can call, coming crisis is being faced by Bangladesh? Because of the high energy cost in the global market. This bilateral visit was also critical for taking forward existing discussions and cooperations on issues such as energy trade, connectivity, developing key trade infrastructure between the two countries, especially in the border areas, and also some investment in the human capital. How? Through training arrangement for judiciary and also technological cooperation between Bangladesh CSIR and Indian CSIR. So as of India has opened, as of 2017, India has given line of credit, which means loan, of 7.86 billion in Bangladesh for supporting around 30 projects. But Delhi has disbursed only 1.5 billion, which is less than 20% of the pledged loan that will be given. So it has only given till now 1.5 billion, which is 20%. This underscores the need to revisit and renegotiate the LOC framework. So it is calling that India must give more to it to revisit and renegotiate the line of credit framework. And how this will help? This will help in expediting the economic investment for both countries under this arrangement. Now, Bangladesh and India are also expected to start negotiations on SEPA, which is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and this partnership is aimed at creating a supportive environment for preferential trade, access and investment for both countries. So what exactly this SEPA will do? It will provide an environment, a supportive environment to do trade, to do investment for both the countries, and especially after Bangladesh LDC graduation in 2026. So what is LDC? It is the least developed country. So Bangladesh will graduate in 2026. What exactly that means? United Nations have announced that Bangladesh will no longer be a least developing country from 2026. It will become a developing country. So it has its you can call negative effects also, because being a least developed country helps you a lot, but it has positive aspects also. An effective SEPA is likely to resolve issues and challenges that are associated with anti-dumping duties and also rules of origin through multimodal connectivity and deepening cooperation. So these are the challenges. Anti-dumping duties. So it means that the duties, there are import duty, export duty. So there will be no dumping of these duties, and also rules of origin is there. So it means that a product is made where is exactly the origin of that product. So it is distorted sometimes, as I will give you an example, that Apple has its manufacturing hub in Taiwan. So because of this China and Taiwan conflict, it called its manufacturers to remove that label and write there Taiwan, China, so that its sale does not go down. So this is exactly how you broke the rules of origin. And to solve these challenges, they have started the multimodal connectivity and also started to deepen cooperation. Perhaps the two key outcomes of interest that have surfaced are Bangladesh and India interim water sharing agreement for Kushiara River. So this is the biggest achievement of this visit. There was a water sharing agreement for this river, and it was the first such pact between the two countries in over 25 years after the Ganga Water Treaty in 1996. So this is a noteworthy achievement, and it shows that more open-minded engagement will be a fruitful result for pending Teesta Treaty. So there is a Teesta River. So what Bangladesh Prime Minister have called that she hopes that this problem of sharing water of Teesta River can also be solved, and we see that there will be a fruitful results if both the countries have such open-minded engagement, which has remained, this TISA treaty have remained an elusive agreement for government for more than a decade. Now second, the India has already projected positive intent to export surplus fuel imported from Russia, which will help Bangladesh navigate the uncertain and volatile global oil market. So India is importing the fuel from Russia, and it has promised Bangladesh that it will export surplus fuel, which means it will use, and whatever will be left, which is surplus, it will export that to Bangladesh. Even though the exact details of such arrangement are unknown, in recent times there has been widespread speculation that extensive development cooperation that are going between Bangladesh and China has tilted Dhaka toward Beijing. So there are such speculations that Dhaka is tilting towards China. But Sheikh Hasina has pulled the curtain down, and she has stated that, I reiterate, that India is the most important and closest neighbor of Bangladesh. Bangladesh-India bilateral relations are known to be a role model for neighborhood diplomacy. Moreover, this is consistent with the political mood in Dhaka. And why? Because especially within its secular and liberal political fabric, it wants deeper trust and engagement between both the countries, Dhaka, Delhi, so that both the countries can jointly neutralize any potential terrorist and security threats in the region. So why exactly these two countries want to have trust and engagement? In order to neutralize the potential terrorist and also security threats that come between India and Bangladesh, and also offer some hope to deal with the ongoing Rohingya crisis. So you know Rohingya crisis. Rohingya are Indo-Aryan ethnic groups who are predominantly follow Islam religion. Before 2017, in genocide that was occurred in Bangladesh, 1.4 million of them were expected to live in the Myanmar. Now Bangladesh and India's bilateral relations, and why exactly Bangladesh and India come in the issue of Myanmar? Because these Rohingya Muslims are coming in the areas of India and Bangladesh, they are migrating there. Now Bangladesh and India's bilateral ties have rarely been in history a linear affair. After the brutal assassination of Bangladesh founding father and the first president, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So this person was no more, he was assassinated. So Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, you will be surprised to know that he is the father of Sheikh Hasina, who is currently the Prime Minister. So because of this assassination, the political spectrum witnessed the rise of Islamic and military leaders who were hostile to any meaningful engagement with India between 1975 and 1996. So because of this rise in the military leaders, India supports democracy, not a military coup. So that is why it seriously affected Bangladesh's capacity to structure any lasting cooperation with India. In fact, relationship between India became deeply hostile when the BNP, so this is I think Bangladesh National Party and Jamaat-e-Islami coalition government. So this is N for nationalist. It is Bangladesh Nationalist Party and also Jamaat-e-Islami. They have coordinated form a coalition government between 2001 and 2006, and that allowed Bangladesh sovereign territory to hold armed insurgencies against the northeastern states of India by separatists. So because of such coalition, there was a grave threat from Bangladesh to India. This regrettable deterioration in the Bangladesh-India relationship, it was reversed And how it was reversed? It was reversed by the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League in December 2008. And from then on, continued pragmatic engagement and political trust between both these countries, between Bangladesh and India, have gone from strength to strength. And why exactly it has gone from strength? Because India wants peace, and Dhaka have showed zero tolerance to all security threats to India. So in sense, it has supported India to fight against terrorism. Hope has been renewed after Prime Minister Hasina visit, especially because she and Prime Minister Modi have stated that the spirit of this friendship between the two countries will help these two historical allies, India and Bangladesh, to resolve all the pending issues. And this ongoing engagement between the two critical actors in South Asia region, India and Bangladesh, these are the two critical actors in South Asia, they will create a conducive condition. They will create a good condition, a supportive condition for shared prosperity and peace in the region. So we see that, and we can hope in the future that this Teesta Treaty, which remains an elusive agreement for government, will be solved. We also hope that initiatives that are done by coordination of both these countries pay well off, and Bangladesh hold good to balance India and China, because a tilt toward any one country will prove disastrous to the Bangladesh. And we will see also in the future what will happen to Bangladesh economy, because Sri Lanka, what occurred to Sri Lanka is being hoped for Bangladesh too. But the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina can do everything to make Bangladesh in a good position, and in order to solve any adverse economic condition that are heading towards its shores. So this was about Bangladesh and India. So now editorial segment is complete. You can read these editorials as well.